All right, so are you ready to dive into some pretty wild stuff?
I think so. Hit me with it.
Well, today we're tackling this idea of the law of attraction.
Oh, interesting.
And trying to figure out, like, is there any actual science behind it?
Yeah.
So you shared this YouTube video, titled, get this, The Scientist Who Solved the Law of Vibration, Desires Are Frequencies.
Okay.
And it's from this channel called Video Advice.
Yeah, video advice.
And honestly, even just like that title alone, it's got me so intrigued.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know, maybe a little skeptical too.
Sure.
So is this like legitimate science?
Right.
Or is this like wading into spiritual mumbo jumbo territory,
Yeah. It's definitely making a bold claim.
Right.
What I find interesting, though, is how the video tries to tie spirituality and hard science together.
Okay, yeah.
And it uses this idea of constructive interference.
Oh, okay. So the video, they explain constructive interference, and they use the example of waves. And it's basically saying, like, when two waves of the same length, they collide, they, like, merge into one, like, bigger wave.
Right.
Like, imagine you toss two pebbles into a pond, right?
Yeah.
And where the ripples overlap, they get bigger.
Exactly. I mean, that's a perfect example of constructive interference.
Right.
It's this fundamental principle in physics that applies to all sorts of waves, not just water.
Totally.
But then the video takes this concept and it makes, I think, a pretty big leap.
Oh, okay.
Asking, could our thoughts and emotions, if they're all aligned and vibrating at the same frequency, could they be acting like those waves in the pond?
Whoa.
Amplifying each other and then, drawing in the things that we desire.
Okay, that's like mind-bending to think about.
Yeah.
Then the video goes even further with this analogy of tuning forks.
Oh.
You know how, like, if you strike one tuning fork,
right,
it can cause another one nearby, if it has the same frequency, to start vibrating too.
Yeah. That's resonance in action.
Right.
Another one of these core physics principles.
Right.
And so the video suggests that our thoughts and desires, they might be working in a similar way.
Oh, wow.
That they're like resonating with the universe to attract whatever it is that we're focusing on.
Okay.
They even mention gray matter, the part of our brain that does our thinking, implying that our thoughts, they actually do have a measurable frequency.
Whoa. Have you ever, like, felt totally in sync with someone?
Oh, yeah?
Like where your energies just click? Could that be because your thoughts were actually vibrating at the same frequency?
That's an interesting thought.
Right. So the video then goes on to say that the law of attraction, it's supported by, like, ancient wisdom.
Okay.
Specifically, they reference Matthew 18.20,
right,
which, emphasizes this power of collective intention.
Yeah, the scripture is a great example of what can happen when we share a purpose.
Right.
And when our energy is aligned.
It's interesting how they connect this to other ancient texts too, like the Upanishads, the I Ching, and the Tao Te Ching.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection.
Which all of them kind of emphasize harmony and aligned energies as pathways to getting what you want.
Yeah, it's like they're all pointing to this recurring theme of harnessing energy.
Right.
Whether it's through modern science or ancient wisdom.
It's like all connected.
Yeah.
Speaking of energy, though.
Yeah.
The video uses this, like, really relatable analogy, the mobile phone.
Okay.
So it explains how our phones use electromagnetic waves, which are basically just a spectrum of frequencies, right, to communicate over distances.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty clever comparison, isn't it?
It is.
Like, just as phones use specific frequencies to send and receive info,
right,
the video suggests that maybe our thoughts and intentions could be, like, emitting frequencies out into the universe, too.
Yeah, potentially shaping our reality.
Whoa. Then the video just boldly says, and I quote, "Your thoughts are the most potent form of energy there is."
Wow.
Do you believe that?
It's definitely something to think about.
The way that they visualize these, like, levels of vibration as these, like, ascending lines, it really makes you consider, like, what impact could our thoughts actually have?
It's definitely thought-provoking. It's important to remember, though, that the video isn't just advocating for, like, wishful thinking.
Right, yeah.
It's more about aligning your thoughts and actions with your goals.
Okay.
It's not enough to just wish for something. You need to act in a way that aligns with your desires.
Right.
Almost like you're like tuning yourself to the frequency of whatever it is that you want to achieve.
I see, yeah. We've all been there, right?
Yeah.
Like making excuses for not going after our dreams. Like, I don't have the money.
Right.
I don't have the time. Kids need me. All that,
Right. We all face these hurdles.
I'm definitely guilty of that.
But what if, like those limiting beliefs, what if they actually create a frequency that's out of sync with our goals?
Oh, wow.
And that's where the video takes this really fascinating turn.
Okay.
They introduced this concept of the DNA phantom effect.
The DNA phantom effect. Okay.
This was an experiment done by a Dr. Vladimir Poponin.
Okay.
And it explored the interaction between human DNA and light particles.
Oh, wow. So this is where it gets really intriguing.
Yeah.
So the video claims that Dr. Poponin's experiment showed that human DNA, it was seemingly like influencing the behavior of light particles.
Interesting.
Even after the DNA was like removed from the experiment.
What?
It's like it left this phantom imprint on the environment or something.
Exactly. It's as though the DNA's energy, its frequency, was somehow still there, even though it was physically gone.
That's crazy.
Yeah. This experiment, though, it's been met with some skepticism. Right.
From the scientific community.
Okay.
But it does raise some pretty interesting questions.
Yeah.
About the nature of energy and consciousness.
Right.
And their potential impact on the physical world.
It's mind-blowing to think that even something like as tiny as DNA, could have this like profound effect.
It's incredible.
If our DNA has a frequency, right?
Right.
And like our thoughts and emotions have a frequency.
Yeah.
Could it be that we're constantly emitting these like subtle energetic signals that are actually shaping our reality?
It's a fascinating possibility, isn't it?
It's crazy. So it's like we're not just physical beings interacting with this material world, but also energetic beings, emitting frequencies that are interacting with the universe on this like whole other level.
Yeah. It's like we're not just interacting with the world, we're like resonating with it.
That's wild.
It is.
So speaking of influencing reality, the video dives into the world of advertising.
Arguing that, advertisers are consciously using the law of attraction.
It's interesting.
To subtly manipulate us.
Okay, so how do they do that?
Right. They even bring up Dr. Masaru Emoto's water crystal experiments.
Oh, right.
Where he showed how words and intentions could actually change the structure of water crystals, right?
And the video is suggesting that advertisers use similar techniques.
Exactly. Carefully choosing images and words and even like music to tap into our desires and like shape our perceptions.
It's fascinating, right? Because advertising, it's not just about persuading us to buy something.
Right.
It's like they're trying to align our frequencies with the product or idea that they're promoting.
Wow.
They want us to vibrate at the same frequency as their message.
Interesting.
So we're more likely to buy into it, literally.
Right.
It's pretty clever.
And the scary part is it seems to be working, right?
Yeah.
The video says these ads can actually boost purchase intent by over 300%.
300%.
300%. I mean, think about how much time we spend surrounded by ads. It's on our phones, it's on TV, billboards.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's a constant barrage of information.
Right.
All designed to influence our thoughts, our emotions, and ultimately our choices.
So are we consciously creating our own reality?
Right.
Or are we just being like subtly manipulated by these external forces?
It is a little unsettling, isn't it?
Definitely makes you think. But before we spiral into like an existential crisis, the video does offer like a glimmer of hope.
Okay.
And that's the power of collective intention to create positive change.
Oh, interesting.
So remember that principle of constructive interference we were talking about earlier?
Right, with the waves.
Yeah. So if our individual thoughts and intentions are like those ripples in the pond, imagine the impact if like billions of people all focus their intentions on a common goal.
That's huge.
It's like creating this like massive wave.
Right, yeah.
Right, this like powerful force for change.
Yeah. So instead of everyone focusing on fear or lack or negativity, what if we all consciously chose to vibrate at a frequency of peace or love or unity?
What kind of world could we create if we tapped into that power?
That's an amazing thought.
Right.
And it's something that resonates, with a lot of spiritual traditions too.
Right.
This idea that we're all interconnected.
Right.
And that our thoughts and actions have a ripple effect that goes way beyond ourselves.
Totally. Totally. So the video really emphasizes that, we're not just passive observers in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
We're like active participants,
Right.
co-creators of our reality.
And that power comes with a responsibility, doesn't it?
Right.
To be mindful of the choices that we make,
Right.
the thoughts that we cultivate, and the intentions that we set.
Because they're all contributing to this like collective frequency of humanity.
Yeah.
Wow. It's incredible to think that we have this power within us.
It is.
Like the next time you're, scrolling through social media or watching TV,
Yeah.
pause for a second.
Okay.
And just become aware of the messages that are like bombarding you.
Right.
And ask yourself, are these messages aligned with my values?
Yeah.
Are they contributing to the kind of world that I actually want to live in?
That's a great point.
And if the answer is no,
Yeah.
you can consciously choose to shift your focus.
Right.
Choose to vibrate at a higher frequency.
Yeah.
Choose to be a conscious creator of your reality.
Love it. So this deep dive, it's taken us on quite a journey.
I know, right?
From, the science of ways.
Right.
To the wisdom of ancient texts, from these mysteries of DNA to the persuasive tactics of advertisers.
Right, right.
And finally, to this inspiring potential of collective intention.
Whoa, it's a lot to take in.
It is. But one key takeaway, I think, is that we're not powerless, in shaping our lives and the world around us.
We have the power to choose.
Exactly. We have the power to choose our thoughts,
Right.
our intentions, and ultimately the reality that we experience.
It's a powerful reminder that we're all connected.
Absolutely. And that our individual choices have a ripple effect on the collective. It's like we're all part of this big interconnected web.
It's a call to action, isn't it?
It is.
To become conscious creators.
Yeah.
To use our thoughts and intentions.
Right.
To shape a world that aligns with our highest aspirations.
Inspiring, isn't it?
It's amazing. So if our desires truly do operate like frequencies, what kind of world do you want to create?
That's the question, isn't it?
What thoughts will you choose to amplify?
Right.
What intentions will you set?
This deep dive's given you a taste, of the science and the ancient wisdom that supports the law of attraction.
Right.
Now it's up to you to explore further.
Right.
To experiment and see how these principles might work in your own life.
Who knows? Maybe by aligning our frequencies, by focusing our collective intention on creating a more loving, peaceful, abundant world, we can actually make that reality happen.
It's possible. The possibilities are truly limitless.
I love that.
Keep questioning.
Yeah.
Keep exploring. And keep vibrating at the frequency of your dreams.
Until next time.
Yes.
Keep diving deep.
Absolutely.
Oh, so we've been talking about this whole aligning our thoughts and actions with our goals thing.
Right.
Well, what does that even actually look like in practice?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How do we actually shift our frequency to match what we want?
So the video, it doesn't really dive deep into the specifics.
Right.
But it does touch on this concept of levels of vibration.
Levels of vibration. Okay.
It's this idea that our thoughts and emotions and actions, they all exist on this spectrum of energy.
Okay.
From low to high vibration.
I see. So the video shows a visual of these levels, kind of like a ladder.
Right.
With low vibration states like fear and anger at the bottom, and higher vibration states like love and joy at the top.
Exactly.
So it's basically saying to manifest the things we want, we got to raise our vibration to match the frequency of those things.
Right. It's remember that tuning fork analogy we were talking about earlier?
Right.
Yeah. To resonate with a specific frequency, you have to be tuned to that same frequency. So the video suggests that by cultivating positive emotions, practicing gratitude, and focusing on our goals, we can raise our vibration and become more magnetic to the things that we want.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about embodying that positivity, in our actions and our emotions.
Exactly.
It makes me think of that saying, energy flows where attention goes.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
So if we're always dwelling on negativity, we're kind of tuning our frequency to attract more of that same stuff.
Exactly. The video really emphasizes, though, that it's not about suppressing negative emotions.
Oh, yeah.
It's more about consciously shifting our focus
to
these higher vibration thoughts and feelings.
So cultivating this overall sense of like well-being and alignment with our goals.
Exactly.
Okay, let's be real for a sec. Like, that's way easier said than done, right?
It's true.
Life throws us curveballs.
Oh, yeah.
And it's tough to like stay positive all the time.
It is.
The video doesn't really like address those challenges of maintaining this like high vibration, especially when you're like hit with obstacles and setbacks and stuff, you know?
Right. It paints, I guess, a somewhat idealistic picture.
Right.
But the reality is life is full of ups and downs.
Totally.
The key, I think, is not to like strive for this constant positivity.
Right.
But more to develop like a resilience.
Okay. Yeah.
That lets us bounce back from challenges.
Right.
And then refocus our energy towards those outcomes we want.
So it's more about finding that like balance, that equilibrium.
Exactly.
Even in the middle of like chaos.
Yeah, amidst the chaos.
It's interesting that the video doesn't really go into the like how-to of those like low vibration moments.
Right.
You know, like are there specific techniques or practices that can like help us get through that and get back on track?
That's definitely something, you know, you could explore further.
Right.
If you want to dive deeper into those like practical applications of these ideas.
Totally.
I mean, there's a lot of resources out there
Right.
that offer guidance on like mindfulness,
Right.
meditation, energy healing, and, you know, other practices that can help us cultivate that emotional resilience.
Right.
And maintain a higher vibration.
That makes sense. So it seems like the video gives us this really fascinating framework, right, for understanding the law of attraction. But like, it's up to us to actually do the work.
Right.
And find the tools that like resonate with us.
Exactly. It's like they've given us the map.
Right.
But we got to choose the path and navigate the terrain ourselves.
Totally. It's like we're all individual radio stations.
Yeah, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have the power to tune into the frequency that brings us joy and fulfillment and success.
Love it.
Okay, now I'm curious. The video mentions that even our DNA has a frequency.
Right.
And that it can potentially like influence the physical world.
Yeah.
Can you like explain that a little more? That DNA phantom effect thing really like caught my attention.
Right. That was a really fascinating part of the video. So the DNA phantom effect, as they describe it, it was this experiment done by Dr. Vladimir Poponin.
Okay.
Where he looked at the interaction between human DNA and light particles.
Right. And the video says he found that even after the DNA was removed from the experiment, it was still like affecting the behavior of the light particles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Almost as if it like left behind this phantom imprint on the environment.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's as though the DNA's energy, its frequency, was somehow still there.
Right.
Even though it was physically gone.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah, it is. This experiment, though, you know, it's been met with some skepticism.
Right.
From the scientific community.
Right.
But it does raise some really intriguing questions, you know?
Totally.
About the nature of energy.
Right.
And consciousness and their potential impact on the physical world.
It's like mind-blowing to think that even something as tiny as DNA could have this like profound effect.
I know, right?
If our DNA has a frequency and our thoughts and emotions also have a frequency,
right?
Could it be that we're constantly emitting these like subtle energetic signals that are shaping our reality?
It's a fascinating possibility.
It's like we're not just physical beings interacting with a material world.
Yeah.
We're also energetic beings emitting frequencies that are interacting with the universe on this like much deeper level.
Exactly. It's like we're not just interacting with the world, we're resonating with it.
That's like wild.
It is. And maybe through practices like, you know, mindfulness, meditation, energy healing,
right?
We can learn to like fine tune our transmissions, I guess,
okay,
and become more conscious creators of our experiences.
Like we're all walking antennas,
yeah,
constantly transmitting and receiving information through these like unseen energy fields.
Exactly. It's a pretty amazing concept.
So it's interesting how the video connects these ideas to like advertising.
Oh, how so?
It's saying that advertisers are basically like hacking into our energy fields and manipulating our frequencies to influence our buying decisions.
So they're using techniques to tap into our desires, our fears, our aspirations.
Right, exactly.
And creating a frequency that like resonates with our subconscious minds.
Exactly. And ultimately like influencing our behavior.
Interesting. It's a fascinating parallel.
Makes you wonder, like, how much of our consumer behavior is, like, actual conscious choice versus like subconscious manipulation.
Right.
Like, are we buying that new gadget because we like really need it?
Yeah.
Or because the advertising has like successfully aligned our frequency with like wanting that product?
It's a little unsettling, isn't it?
It's kind of creepy, right?
It is. It definitely raises some ethical considerations about the power of advertising and the responsibility that consumers have to be more aware of these tactics.
The video actually claims that ads using these techniques can like increase purchase intent by over 300%.
Wow, that's huge.
It's pretty significant impact.
It is.
And it really makes you realize how vulnerable we are to these like subconscious influences.
Yeah, it's a good reminder to be mindful, of the messages that we're constantly being bombarded with. And to like consciously choose the frequencies that we're allowing into our energy fields.
It's not about avoiding advertising altogether. It's about approaching it with like a more critical eye and like a deeper understanding of these like psychological and energetic forces that are at play.
Exactly. We need to become more conscious consumers. Questioning the messages that we're receiving. And making choices that align with our values and our, authentic desires.
It's like we need to develop our own like internal spam filters.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
To block out the frequencies that don't serve us, amplify the ones that do.
And the more we cultivate, self-awareness and emotional resilience, the more discerning we become about those frequencies that we allow to influence us.
Totally. Okay, so we've talked about aligning our thoughts and actions with our goals, raising our vibration, the potential power of DNA, and these persuasive tactics of advertising. But what about this role of collective intention?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Like, the video seems to suggest that our individual frequencies can also impact the collective consciousness, right?
That's a really intriguing concept. The video, it proposes that just as our thoughts and emotions can create a ripple effect in our own lives, our collective intentions can also create a ripple effect in the world around us.
So, like, if enough people focus their energy on a common goal, like peace or healing or environmental sustainability or whatever, it could create this powerful wave of positive change.
Exactly. It goes back to that principle of constructive interference. If we all contribute our individual ripples of positive intention, we can amplify each other's energy and create a more harmonious, balanced world.
It's a beautiful thought. It makes you think about the power of like the movements like the civil rights movement or the environmental movement, where millions of people united their voices and their energy to create meaningful change.
Exactly. It suggests that we have this collective responsibility to use our thoughts, emotions, and actions to shape a world that aligns with our highest aspirations.
So it's not just about like personal transformation. It's about contributing to a collective evolution,
That's a powerful way to put it. The video, it invites us to consider the impact of our individual frequencies on this larger web of consciousness and to recognize our potential to co-create this more loving, peaceful, and abundant world.
This whole idea of collective intention is really inspiring,
It is.
It's a reminder that even though we might feel small or insignificant sometimes, our thoughts, emotions, and actions, they really do matter.
They do.
We all have the power to contribute to something greater than ourselves.
And that power lies in choosing to vibrate at a frequency of love, compassion, and unity.
It's like we're all musicians in this grand orchestra, right?
Yeah, I love that.
And when we harmonize our instruments, we create a symphony that resonates throughout the universe.
That's beautiful.
This has been such an enlightening deep dive.
It has.
We've explored so many fascinating concepts, from aligning our frequencies to manifesting our desires, from the potential power of DNA to the influence of advertising, and finally to this inspiring possibility of collective intention.
It's been a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. Through science and spirituality and the mysteries of human consciousness.
It's amazing, really.
And it's left me feeling empowered and hopeful.
That's great.
It's a reminder that we have more control over our reality than we often realize.
Absolutely.
Now, before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on one more thing.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's on your mind?
Well, the video touches on the idea that we're all these energetic beings constantly emitting frequencies that interact with the universe. but it doesn't really explain what these frequencies are made of.
Yeah.
Or like how they actually work,
That's a great question. And it's one that, scientists and spiritual seekers alike are still trying to figure out.
Right. Like we know there's this invisible energy field that connects us all.
Right.
But we're still trying to like decipher the language of this field, like the code that governs how it operates.
Exactly. It's like we've discovered this new continent, but haven't explored its depths or fully grasped its complexities.
It's exciting, but also kind of daunting at the same time.
It is.
Makes me wonder if future scientific discoveries will like shed more light on the nature of these frequencies and how we can like consciously interact with them.
It's definitely a frontier ripe for exploration.
Right.
As we continue to delve into these mysteries of consciousness, energy, and the interconnectedness of all things, I think we're going to unlock even more profound insights into the power of our thoughts and emotions and intentions.
It's like we're on the cusp of this like new era of understanding where science and spirituality are like converging.
Yeah, I love that.
To reveal the true potential of human consciousness.
It's a beautiful way to put it. And as we embark on this journey of discovery, it's important to approach it with a sense of wonder, curiosity, and open-mindedness.
Well said. This deep dive has given us so much to ponder and explore.
It really has.
I'm already like eager for our next deep dive.
Me too.
Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep vibrating at the frequency of your dreams.
And remember, the universe is listening.
That's a great note to end on. Until next time, keep diving deep. Okay, so we've really gone deep into some mind-blowing ideas about this law of attraction thing.
We have.
From like the science behind frequencies, the whole collective intention idea.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in, to be honest.
It is.
But what I'm really curious about is how does this all apply to our like everyday lives,
That's the big question, right?
Right. Like how can we actually use these ideas to, create positive change and actually manifest the things we want?
Well, the video gives us this fascinating, theoretical framework.
Right.
But it's really up to us to, translate that theory into action.
Right. It's easy to get, swept up in the excitement of it all.
Yeah.
But the video doesn't really give us, a step-by-step guide,
Exactly. It's like they've given us all the ingredients, but they left out the recipe.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So it's less about following, a set formula.
Right.
And more about developing a deeper understanding of, ourselves and our own unique energetic blueprint.
Absolutely. It's about becoming conscious creators.
Okay.
Attuned to our own inner guidance.
Right.
And aligned with the frequencies that resonate with our true desires.
One thing that really stuck out to me through this whole deep dive is how much it emphasizes taking responsibility for our thoughts and feelings and actions.
Right.
It's empowering, but also kind of intimidating at the same time.
It is both, isn't it? It's liberating to realize that we have more control than we think we do.
Yeah.
But it also comes with responsibility, for sure.
Right. Because if we really are co-creating our reality, then we can't just blame everything on external circumstances.
Exactly.
Right?
We have to own our part in the creation process.
Right. The good and the bad.
The good, the bad, the whole thing. It's like we're holding the paintbrush.
Right.
And the canvas of our life is constantly changing based on the colors we choose.
Totally. So it's not just about wishing for a better life.
Right.
It's about actually shaping that life through our choices and our energetic alignments.
Exactly. The video says the universe, it responds to our dominant frequency.
Okay.
The vibration that we're consistently putting out there.
So if we want to attract good things, we need to cultivate a positive internal state.
Yeah, but how do we actually do that?
Right. How the video mentions stuff practicing gratitude,
right?
Focusing on our goals, cultivating positive emotions.
Yeah.
But are there any specific techniques?
That's where the personal exploration comes in.
Right.
Because what works for one person might not work for another.
Totally.
Some people find that meditation helps them quiet their mind, connect with a deeper sense of peace.
Right.
Others find that spending time in nature or listening to uplifting music or being creative, that raises their vibration.
So it's about finding what works for you and making it a part of your life.
Exactly. Creating a lifestyle that supports your energetic alignment.
Right.
And allows you to be a conscious creator.
It's we're all alchemists, right?
I love that.
Experimenting with different ingredients to find the perfect formula to turn our inner lead into gold.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And remember, it's a journey,
Right.
not a destination.
We're going to mess up along the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There will be times when we're out of alignment.
Right.
When we get caught up in negativity or self-doubt.
Totally.
The key is to develop that self-awareness and resilience to recognize those patterns and gently guide ourselves back.
Back to that good vibe. So it's about progress, not perfection, right?
Exactly. It's about embracing all of it. The ups, the downs, the whole ride.
Right.
While still striving to align with our highest potential.
I love that. And, we don't have to go it alone.
Oh, absolutely not. We're all part of this collective consciousness.
Right.
We can support each other.
Totally. We can amplify each other's good energy and create this ripple effect of love and compassion and healing.
Exactly. And that brings us back to that concept of collective intention.
Right, right.
Remember, the video suggests that when we unite our hearts and minds towards something, we create a powerful force.
It's like we're all strands in this giant web of consciousness.
Yeah, I love that.
And when we vibrate in harmony, we strengthen the whole thing.
Exactly. It highlights how interconnected we all are and the potential we have to co-create a more beautiful, harmonious world.
Man, this deep dive has been truly eye-opening.
It has been an interesting one.
It's given me a whole new perspective on this law of attraction thing and the power we have,
It's been a privilege to explore these ideas with you. I hope it's sparked your curiosity.
Oh, it totally has.
And inspired you to dig a little deeper into these mysteries.
For sure. I'm feeling inspired, and empowered to take these ideas and apply them to my own life.
I love to hear that. And who knows, maybe together we can all contribute to creating a world that vibrates at a frequency of love, peace, and abundance.
It's a beautiful vision.
It is, and I believe it's a vision we can actually manifest.
I love it.
If we set our intentions and align our energies.
So well said. This has been an incredible deep dive. Thanks for joining me on this journey.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to everyone listening, thank you for diving deep with us. Remember, the power to create the life you want is within you. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep vibrating at the frequency of your dreams. Until next time, keep diving deep.